Fan, short for fanatic, is the one who's screaming their lungs out in sub-zero degree temperatures, still believing when the chips are down, and never, ever giving up on their teams or their players. From the closest seat to the worst one, we want to meet you all. This is the American Fan.
What's going on, sports fans? It's your boy Josh Williams back again with another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. Ro, we starting to get hard. Come on, girl. Come on now. We're starting to slide through. We'll see. How you feeling today?
You know, I am especially excited as of 7 minutes ago. Yeah.
That's how we're opening the show.
That is how we're going to open the show. It's breaking news.
Oh, Lord.
If you haven't heard already, Jimmy G is going to the Raiders like I predicted.
You did predict it. You did, and, you know, we're going to give you your flowers when we get down to NFL. We can talk about it quickly. It is for a 3-year deal, $67.5 million, $34 million guaranteed. I had said, I can't remember, one of our episodes I was saying, I agreed with you once I realized that Jimmy G played with Josh McDaniels. Under Josh McDaniels, I thought it made complete sense. And I think it makes complete sense to have him on a 3-year deal. I said that. Start him for 2 years, which it looks like in terms of the guarantee fall in line. But draft, if you draft Anthony Richardson this year, if you draft Will Levis this year, you give yourself that 2-year buffer for that guy to sit, learn. Hopefully, you guys make a playoff run. I think it makes perfect sense. It's a good looking deal. So,
well, just when you say you guys, meaning like the Raider collective, I am a Giants fan, die hard. I don't care. They're not my team, but they are the home team. I'm really happy. We'll talk about it more, just as you said, but I feel like Jimmy G fits in to that offensive scheme perfectly. He has a great working relationship and knowledge of Josh McDaniels, and maybe this is a situation where it's the player saving the coach.
Yeah, definitely, because Stidham was going to get that man fired mid-season. Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me.
What's that video where homeboy shows up to the facility and his swipe card doesn't work anymore? He's
Jamal Adams?
I think.
Who was it?
Jamal Adams.
Oh, that's right, Jamal Adams.
It was a stud. You were like, what? He's a rookie?
You're like blowing on your card. Maybe the card is dirty. Let me go ahead and swipe that again. Like, oh my goodness. But Ro, so let's start with I'm gonna say March Madness. Ro's telling me we're gonna get sued, but until we get big enough for people to care, it is March Madness.
No, it's March Madness, but what we're doing is actually, we wanted to do, we're all about the fan. That's the whole premise of the show. We wanted to give back to everybody that supported us and will support us. We are putting together a competition. Now, this competition is going to be, I don't want to say Jersey Jamboree, but maybe it's like...
It's Jersey Jam. That's fine.
It's the Jersey Jam. All right.
Fine.
So what we're going to do, it's going to be similar. It's going to be in a bracket look because it's going to be based on votes. So what we're going to do is we would like for everybody that watches to submit their favorite all-time basketball jersey. It could be college, it could be NBA. And so ultimately the grand prize, and whoever wins this and has submitted the one that votes, the first person that submits the jersey, the winning jersey, is going to receive that jersey. Here's how it's going to work. To be eligible, you have to follow us on the American Fan 365 on Instagram, and you have to subscribe to us on the American Fan 365 on YouTube, and you have to like at least 2 of our videos. Once that's done and we confirm that you have done all those steps, submit to us through the American Fan 365 DM an image of what jersey you would like to submit. And then we are going to put it up for polls for Gen Pop to vote on. And there's going to be the American Fan Instagram poll. And also I will be holding my own as Josh. And it's going to be the total number of votes that each jersey gets. It's going to take them to the next round. So by next Monday, Again, I'll post everything on my personal page. It'll be posted on The American Fan, and also on Sticky Paws. So you'll see the rules again. Yeah, we want everybody to submit their favorite jersey, follow us, and if your jersey gets enough votes round after round, you may end up winning that jersey. We're excited to do this because we always want to find ways to give back to you guys that have always supported us and start to support us.
That's it. And like you said too, once you've submitted, so say Rose submits the Lakers jersey as her all-time jersey. That if she's the first person that I see that has that jersey is now gone. It's off the board. It would fall under her name. So keep that in mind. You might not necessarily want to go with the heavy hitter. You might want to try and get, one of those, 1996 Kentucky Wildcats jersey that has the tear marks on the shorts. I still find those jerseys so dope.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be by team. It could be your specific player. Like my favorite non-Laker jersey is a Vince Carter jersey, a Toronto jersey. So, and it could be by year because they change. We talk about like how fire the old Orlando Magic jerseys are. It could be, we'd know better. I mean, I guess should we do it by player or just by team?
I think just by team.
By team? Okay.
Just by team. Because, you know what I mean? Because when you think of the old Bulls jersey, you're automatically going to think Jordan, Pippen. Those are the two guys. So we don't necessarily have to say Jordan in a Wizards jersey. If you think a Wizards jersey is hot, you're an idiot. But if you do, then, I think that's how we do it.
I like it.
All right, George, what do you think? What do you think about the contest?
I am more than likely going to put multiple entries in.
George, you can't tell them we're rigging the vote. You can't
Whoa. I can stuff the ballot as a fan, okay? It's the American Fan, and if we know anything about American voting, all right, it's a little lopsided.
I'm trying to do, what is it, Dominion? I don't want any Dominion lawsuits. I see they're going after Fox News. But Ro, we can talk about college basketball. Let's jump right into it. Yep. The tournament is set. The teams are set. We don't have all the brackets and everything all finished up, but the tournament is set. Are you excited for this time of year in hoops, both NBA and then college?
Love it. I'm a bit. I used to be crazy over college basketball, but that waned for me. I don't know. There was like a lull for a few years, but I'd always watch it. I mean, I'd always watch the bigger games. People love, like for me, my team is UNLV. That's my alma mater. But I mean, until we're really competitive again, we're trending in the right direction. But I always say the team that I want to win is not Duke. Okay,
not you, not Duke.
It is not Duke. But I have my favorites. I mean, my Final Four, based on what I've seen, has changed. But I'm thrilled. What about? Are you a college basketball guy?
I mean, listen, to your point, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit as we go. It's definitely changed for me. You know what I mean? Just the scene as a whole in terms of so many players, now with NIL deals, but then also now with players being able to move more freely in the transfer portal and all those things. College football, college basketball has forever changed for me. The rivalries aren't nearly what they were in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, in my opinion. They're now we're just cheering for my colors. You know what I mean? I'm a Crip or I'm a Blood. That's
I don't see it that way. And let's not feed into any stereotypes. But I don't see it that way. I feel like the rivalries are alive and well. They're just not as gritty.
They don't mean as much. Like, you know what I mean? The kids aren't like, you felt the energy was more palpable, I would say. Like when we laugh at Juan Dixon, right? We laugh,
the pride of Maryland, Juan Dixon.
The pride of Maryland, Juan Dixon. We laugh at Juan Dixon, but those Duke Maryland games in the early 2000s, that energy was palpable. Like, we hated Duke.
Okay, but but that was closer to when you graduated as well. So it felt differently for you. These kids are still playing for contracts. There's no given. Thank God they're getting paid for the use of their images and names now, but they're still playing to be recognized and to get picked up by a team. So the hunger is there. And I personally feel like sometimes in basketball and college basketball, there's more heart.
No, 1,000%. Even if they do have NIL deals now, there's a lot more energy put into it when this is everything for me. In the NBA, some guys, it might be everything, but it also might be everything because of what it'll do for my brand. It might be everything because they're paying me a lot of money. But right now, you're still playing a kid's game. This is still a kid's game when it comes down to it. And the love and passion is definitely different in college than I would say in the NBA.
I see more filled arenas in college basketball than I do in any NBA game that isn't a playoff.
No question. I mean, the NBA season doesn't really start until
after Christmas.
Until playoff time, really. You know what I mean? In terms of the fan interaction like that, where the fans are now everybody's wearing the same color and that kind of stuff, where you're living and dying on every possession.
Well,
in the NBA,
I think that it's probably starting now, which is the last month of regular season, that you're starting to watch every game that means anything.
Yeah, because the games are all meaningful at this point.
Yeah, we'll talk about NBA, but yes, now I'm tuning in to watch the Lakers disappointment.
Well, okay, so how many brackets do you usually do?
This year, with college, I do one and I stick with it.
Okay.
I do one.
You do one and you do it multiple times, or just the one?
No, I do one. I'm one and out. Like if I lose, I was happy last year that St. Pete blew out everybody's fucking bracket. But and I was happy that mine got blown up because of St. Pete's. But I do one and I stick with it.
Okay.
I'll have mine. I'm working on mine. I'll have mine done by the end of the day. But I have the roadmap. What I do is I work backwards. I'm very non-traditional in the way that I pencil in my brackets, pen in my brackets. I start with who I think will be in the Final Four based on their seed and their division. Mm-hmm. And then I work backwards. I know that's not normal, but that's just how my brain operates.
No, listen, listen, nobody is perfect when it comes to bracket. So everybody's method for it is beautiful. And I'm just happy to hear, because everyone always comes for Ro because she's a lady and can't have an opinion. I'm just glad to hear she doesn't pick colors. Because at this point, I think most dudes are just out here picking colors. You know how there's always a thing terms of women, like with the pools at work, and the women usually win. And like, how'd you do it? I just like the jerseys.
The colors, right?
I like the jersey color.
No. I listen. I have to, and I take my bias out of it because you have to, right?
Have to.
And I won't have a conversation with anybody about football or any sport if your bias completely blinds you. Like if you're still looking at me dead in the face and vowing that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback to ever play the game just because you've always been a Green Bay fan, I'm going to laugh right in your face. Okay, I'll tell you right now, my Final Four has changed. Now it's Alabama, Duke, Texas, and Kansas. And so I'm going to, even though I hate Duke, they're my Final Four.
Kansas is good.
Oh man, they're so good.
Bill Self should be back out there. So it's
indeed.
Listen, before I go to George's picks, for me, I always pick off of coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like now, granted, therethere's always going to be a couple dinosaurs. Shout out to Jim Boeheim retiring after all these years.
After 152 years.
Hey, listen, I love Jim Boeheim and
yeah, you have to. You got to respect him anyway if you like the sport.
Yes, and from our other show, there was always a Jim Boeheim joke about. I always laughed about him killing those people in the snow when he hit them with their car. Oh. For me, it's still hilarious to this day.
Georgie, are you a college basketball fan?
I'm a college basketball fan right around now.
Yeah. How many brackets do you do?
One, and I was like,
dang.
Your hesitation worried me a little bit there. I mean, it's forever and always a one and done bracket.
Yeah.
There's people that when I see like the multiple or like I just stop them. I can't take a conversation seriously at that point. I'm just like, hey, are you just telling me you don't trust your gut? Now, I have eliminated research, and I just team name, like I don't know, vibe. I do a vibe check. So like photos or like Instagram stuff, if I've seen them, like I love Alabama this year. And I know they've got a lot of bad shit that's happened around their program.
They're fire.
They got the best player in the country, and like their highlights look dope. You know what I mean? So
see for
they
me,
got my vote.
For me, I actually think Alabama, because of all the craziness that's happened, I think they're perfectly ripe for a situation to go down in round 1 or round 2.
So, well, and that's what happened last year. The biggest upsets happened in the first round. Georgie, to your point, I have Texas and Alabama in the championship game with Texas beating them. But I have them going to the championships. I mean, I think they look fire. And just like you, I do a vibe check as well. It's just what you're based on momentum, based on what I see, like how excited the team is, the like the grit, the ink, like everything. But I'm with you, Georgie. I do it the same way. With me, if you have multiple, this is why I've never understood the multiple bracket thing. Not also what Georgie said, and that's like you having 4 favorite quarterbacks and 4 favorite football teams, and going. And just basically switching off every week based on who wins. And so, and then when the Super Bowl comes and if one of them makes it, you're like, I've been riding with so since day one. Like, honestly, please stop it.
Well, okay. Now that shots have been fired.
Go ahead, multiple bracket, man.
Well, so no, the only reason I have multiple brackets is because I put them different places. So like,
are you paying? Okay, I feel different.
No, I don't pay.
Well, like for a tournament, like
yeah, like
bracket?
like you put a bracket on ESPN, then you put a bracket on CBS Sportline, and then what I mean, and then maybe you have a paid bracket. I used to I don't work in an office anymore, so now I don't have as many opportunities to buy into a bracket.
Without a doubt, I'm looking into it today as to how I can get everybody in this complex.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. A buy-in.
$10, $15 bracket. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. See, but like, okay, that would be the bracket.
You go ahead and you could pay for 4 of them.
No. Oh, no. I don't do that.
Pay for 4 of them, man.
No, I don't do that. I never do that. If it's a paid situation.
Make the pot bigger.
That's the bracket. But I might have 3 or 4 brackets. You never know. Listen.
I have one.
There's only one perfect bracket out there.
I mean, I have one because I put enough emotional bandwidth
into that one.
That's fair. I'm not going over it many times because once I am done, I'm done with it. It's like fantasy football.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it cheating if I just fill in after the play-in game, like the bracket? Is that cheating? They don't really consider those.
See, that's the reason why the play-in game for me has messed it up a little bit because you do have that like buffer.
They don't play in dog shit teams anymore. It used to just be 16 seeds. Now they're tossing in like
an 8 and a 9. Yeah.
I'm trying to find one here so we can. Let's see.
Yep. But Ro, what do you think would make college basketball more appealing to casual fans? Like George and myself, because when Georgetown's trash, I don't really pay attention.
It's because of the conference amounts, and there isn't enough highlighted stories that tell about players. Because here's what endears people to teams. It's either hometown, it's either my brother, sister, cousin, mom, dad went there. It's
coaches.
I just love that area. I love coaches. I think that a few things. It just pops up on you in the beginning of the season. Like nobody's like anticipating. There isn't like
that's fair.
There isn't like a ramp up to the first day of college basketball.
No, that's true. There's not much excitement built in at the beginning of college basketball season.
Not that there should be, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a high school draft. Maybe there's like a televised draft.
A high school draft?
Like a draft into college. There has to be something that gets you attached emotionally to some part of it.
Okay. Maybe some kind of a showcase or something for this year's new players. I mean, I know we have the McDonald's All-American game for high school basketball, but maybe there's something that kind of highlights the kids that are going to different places.
So I think there should be an all-star game for college, but like a legit one. Like fair. Where they're playing, but there's a 3-point contest, there's a dunk contest, but it's serious. It's not like you don't have like a band, like a banjo band playing like during it. Like it's serious, and so that way you are familiar. Now you know some of the players.
There's no name recognition now.
There's right. That's exactly it. There's no name recognition.
Yeah. Like really think about it, we had Christian Laettner.
It goes back to that conversation we had.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain players now in the NBA, I don't mean to cut you up, but like when I think of Christian Laettner, I think of what a fucking moron this kid still is, and to Duke. Like, my hate is so associated with his college team. Like, when I think of Magic Johnson, I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. Initially, I think of Michigan.
Michigan State.
Right. Yeah, I think of Michigan State. So if we can get name recognition attached to players and familiarity with players, maybe there'll be a bigger fan base because, listen, in the Midwest and in the South, it's just not is built up here yet.
Yes. I mean, I joked the other day at a bar that I thought Timmy from Gonzaga was 28 because it feel like he's been in Gonzaga for like 9 years. I looked up the child's 22 and I was like, that's what a senior feels like. I don't remember what seniors feel like anymore. Tyler Hansborough's been a long time, but let's go ahead and switch gears. We'll jump over into the NBA. Are the Kings for real? Ro, they're currently second in the West. I didn't realize when they played the Knicks, when we watched them play the Knicks, they have the number one offense in the league. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, they have the number one offense in the league. And the way they played defense versus the Knicks that night, that was the first time I had really watched them for an extended period this season. Their defense looks stout.
So that defense for you, and this is a really good way to point it out, because if I'm thinking about it, it makes complete sense. When they were playing the Knicks the other night, the Knicks had the opportunity to score off of offensive rebounds over and over and over.
5
and
on one
over.
possession. Remember
like
that one?
Literally,
Yeah.
And they couldn't get it done. But that it's with Sacramento, it's on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, to be the number one offense in the league, their defense looks good too. So it's like, wow, that could be a legitimate threat.
I mean, now listen, I didn't take him seriously because that's not a name that it would scare me if my team is going to play them. But the Lakers are 11th, so if that isn't a gauge, I don't know what is. Yes, Braun isn't playing, but I mean, even if he was, that's a big, big gap, and you have no choice but to take him seriously now.
1,000%. I'm excited to see what they do the rest of the way. I definitely would be pulling for them. You know, I mean, the Saints, the Kings, they just can't.
Georgie perked up.
I know. What you say about my Saints? The Kings, I mean, they're one of those teams that just, have never really gotten all the way there. So with this young group, De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, I mean, I'm excited to see what they can do.
Sabonis is a man. I mean, you've gotta give it to him, right?
He looks solid, man. He definitely looks solid, especially defensively, but still gonna get you 18, 20 points a game. Fill the stat sheet. It's
been a strange year in the NBA. I can't believe that the Nets beat the Nuggets last night. Like
what is going on? The Nets are they're trying to race down the Knicks, and I'm like, who's even on their team right now?
I think it's like the ghost of Penny Hardaway or something. And then the Knicks beat the Lakers yesterday. Really, in the beginning of the season, you would have never. It's just such a strange. And the Nuggets, I mean, yes, they lost to the Nets, but who would have thought the Nuggets would have surged too? It's just such a weird year for me.
Yeah.
And I see the decline of Boston happening, which makes me very happy. Sorry, Georgie. And
she's not.
It's planned, okay? You guys are let's go. The Kings are amazing. They're just blowing their load out like everybody before it gets serious.
Is it the script?
The thoughts and views of the front row may or may not represent the rest of the cast.
No, I don't want it to represent anybody else but me. Listen, I'll fall on my sword any given day, and I don't want anybody else to do so because I have a big mouth. But
Rose you've got the Bucks. You're still sticking with
for
the
the
Bucks.
East. Well, Bucks, yeah.
For the championship.
Yeah. For the championship, I got Bucks going all the way.
That's it. I love it. Injuries or resting. 3 of the top 5 stories. When I looked up this morning, I was like, okay, let me go ahead and figure out what we're going to talk about. The top 5 stories in the NBA today, 3 of them were injuries. We've got Damian Lillard sits out tonight because of calf tightness. Kyle Lowry is back from an injury. He's okay coming off the bench. And Kevin Durant out 2 to 3 weeks with his ankle. So I was like,
during pregame warm-ups, and it was supposed to be his debut that night. I think the Suns are cursed. I don't know why. I think there's like some weird curse. Really quick, so I love Dame Lillard, and there is no. I love him. There's absolutely no shade. However. I sent a video to Georgie, to Josh, and to a couple other diehard fans that I know, and it is a it is video of Larry Bird coming after Bill Laimbeer after Bill Laimbeer throws an elbow in Larry Bird's neck. Okay, you heard that, and there's basically a team with Larry Bird throwing the basketball at Bill Laimbeer. Not only was it a basketball game, but it was also pro wrestling. You had both, especially during the East in the 80s and early 90s, and they played night after night. Nobody sat out if you sat out because of calf tightness the day after, you are called a pussy, okay?
To your face.
The fans would hold up signs too. Like you couldn't do that. Okay. Now, if you're tired and you need a breather, I understand that. But those gentlemen played through black eyes, ruptured like orbitals, like tracheal injuries,
lacerated spleens,
everything. And they did cocaine for funsies. So, and they played day after night. I mean, so that's why it's like, calf tightness. Can she just go with like
calf tightness? Love Dame, but yeah. So, Ro, we got some big games this week.
Yep.
Big games this week. The Mavs Clippers tonight. The Bucks. The Bucks they're like one of the last, I think, East teams to go on a West Coast trip. They've got the Kings tonight, the Suns tomorrow. So it's a mean back-to-back. And then the Clippers and the Warriors play on Wednesday. Which one of these matchups? Well, we can talk about each one.
Start off game for game. So
Mavs, Clippers, Luka possibly not playing tonight.
I got Mavs still.
Still got Mavs.
I still got Mavs.
I mean, we've talked about the Clippers before. I still feel like the Clippers have a really, really good shot of making a good run, but they've got to put it together. If they're going to do it, win now or never, basically.
Now, it is now or never, but again, I think, you know what, if you really think about it, the as of late ebb and flow, the back and forth, the imbalance, the injuries. Right now, everybody's getting it with injuries, but I will say that, I don't know, the Clippers imbalance is a little bit more, but they're evenly matched in all areas for me, but I am taking the Mavs.
For sure. I think, and now in the next one with the Bucks have a mean start to their week, both with the Kings, the aforementioned Kings, but then also with the Suns. The Bucks, I feel like, have a really good chance to stamp everything that Ro is saying they are in these next two games. If they beat the Kings, the upstart Kings, and they mess around and beat the Suns, they're
going to beat the Kings, and I'll tell you why. Because there hasn't been a big upset with the Bucks this season when it counted. And they look forward to this. They're looking forward to this because I know they're sitting back watching the Kings going, I cannot, but that just speaks to how good the West is. So they're going to show them what good basketball is. I might have to eat shit, but I don't think I'm going to. I think it is going to be the Bucks handily.
I think you're right, but I am interested to see how the Kings, again, I actually think I'll watch this one because if the Kings figure out a way to slow Giannis down or at least make him work, like he still gets his 30, but it's an ugly 30.
Giannis likes to work. This is why, in my mind, he is MVP, okay? Giannis likes to work. He loves it. He thrives off of it. This is somebody who's so grateful to be in the position that he's in. He doesn't take one moment for granted. You could hear it in his interviews. You can hear it in the way like he jokes around. He is always willing to be there. And his work ethic is dynamic. And keep in mind, they went on a 15-game streak, that team, without Giannis. They don't depend on him.
That's
right. So I got the Bucks, easy money Bucks.
Bucks all day. Okay. All right. And
they don't depend on him until he remembers what Kobe used to tell him, and like, you got to carry the team on your back.
This is coming
triple
from a
teams.
Celtics
Don't
fan.
worry. Don't worry. The Celtics are going to keep throwing triple teams.
This is coming from a Celtics fan.
You're a
I'm
beast.
so salty. I can't.
All right. No,
I
I'm
can't.
sorry.
I can't wait to see if
him go into a triple team.
If they both make it, because that's, I'm not sure if that's the 1-2 right now, but if they both make it to the conference finals,
That's gonna be a good week.
That's gonna be some fun in the studio.
And you know what? That's
fun.
gonna be so good for basketball.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. That's a lot of stars.
It's a trilogy.
Yeah, I mean that's a marketable game. You know, with now especially with the Bucks being former champions recently. You know, they're a little bit of the gatekeepers. So if the Celtics can't get through them, or if they get through the Celtics, it kind of springboards both. You know what I mean? The Celtics get through them. Well, now we're ready to win a championship.
I don't think there'll be a more watched finals ever than, in the future, more than Celtics LA or Knicks LA. Lakers, the only real team. So not according to the standings, though, unfortunately, this season. But I will tell you, there's going to be if the Bucks and the Celtics go to the Eastern Conference Finals, there's going to be a big viewership, as there should be, because they are both dynamic.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. And then finally, the Warriors and the Clippers. As we mentioned a little bit before, it's now or never for the Clippers. I think but also the Warriors a little bit too.
I was concerned after yesterday. Yeah.
They've definitely slid a little bit. They've had their bumps and injuries, and with Wiggins kind of being out of lineup for personal stuff.
I got Clippers over the Warriors.
I hope so, but at the same time, I want both these teams to succeed. So.
I don't really have a horse in this race.
Yeah.
I just want to see good basketball.
Yeah, that's fair. Before we get off of the NBA, Sean Kemp, his defensive attorney, came out and said he shot in self-defense because he was tracking his stolen iPhone. So, his iPhone was stolen. He tracked it, and I guess whoever had it didn't want to give it back.
I've had my iPhone stolen a few times. You don't see me getting my Derringer and going like...
Not the Derringer.
going full Clint Eastwood.
Now, he didn't go full Clint Eastwood. He went full O.J. Simpson. I just came to get my stuff back.
Yeah.
Did you
I wanted
see the
my
video?
Stuff back.
Did you see the video?
No.
Do you have it?
I think I found it. All right.
Oh,
One second
Lord.
here.
Oh, okay.
It says,
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Oh, it's daytime.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord.
Hold on.
I am dead.
Oh, my God.
That's what that person is dead. Maybe.
He went full Clint Eastwood. That's like a high noon draw right there. Like what?
We're having drive-bys in the middle of the day.
Like what in the Wild West is going on?
As I mentioned to Ro before, when this story first broke, Sean Kemp waited to 53 to give it all away. Like
to throw it all out.
Like we've had so many daggone I want to be gangster NBA stories over the last month.
Yeah.
But this one, it was like
it's like what in the Joe Mixon is happening?
Really, Uncle
here?
Sean, Uncle Kemp is out here.
Unc left the cookout to go retrieve his iPhone.
Hey, listen, these iPhones are $1,000 right now. That is a shootable offense. I will say.
Sean Kemp can afford it.
Well,
you know what? I'm not going to make assumptions.
Yeah, let's
here's
hope.
a video of Sean Kemp, John Morant, Gilbert Arenas, and Joe Mixon.
Oh my God.
That was good.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Getting a retweet.
NHL playoffs are right around the corner. Outside of your team, so George, who's your hockey team again?
Oh, the Golden Knights, no doubt.
Okay, all right. So
I'm surprised you weren't going to say Bruins. Boston fan.
I mean, I should.
Boston fan.
Never been to Boston, but I'll be a Bostonian. All right, let me become a Red Sox fan. But no, I mean, hockey wasn't my first love, dude. So when I got the Knights,
that's fair.
Trust me, I realized how special it was when we made it the first year. I was like,
thank God we beat y'all, because y'all would have never been right if y'all actually pulled that off.
I actually cringe when people ask me who my hockey team is, because I'm like, yeah.
Rangers?
Listen, after October 1st, the way the Knights and that's fandom, the way the Knights rallied the fans and we all came together, not that I didn't have a choice. I do have a choice, and the Golden Knights are my team. However, I would be just as happy if the Rangers won.
Okay, so yeah, the question was who would you want to see outside of your team win the Stanley Cup this season?
Shit, I'll pick the Bruins. I know they're favored. There's actually a fun little prop bet that's in Stations Casino right now. How many titles will Boston sports win this year?
Over under 1?
Over under 1.5 between the Celtics and the Bruins.
Take the under.
Dude, I think it's like plus 1,400 if both of them win.
Take the under.
I'm not betting on either of those boys to get a title.
I'll pull accurate odds up.
So for me, let me pull it up. I definitely would love to see the Edmonton Oilers win. You know what I mean, for Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and those boys. But I would also love to see the Toronto Maple Leafs win. Just because, one, a Canadian team hasn't won, I don't think, since the 90s. And then also,
I don't want any Canadian team to win.
Why?
I just don't.
Just to keep needling.
No,
the
because
knife?
it's always been their signature sport. I would love to see us. Canadians are so nice, though. But I'd like to see us snatch it away.
They're so nice, but
also here's the thing about hockey. I grew up watching the Kings. My dad would take me to go watch
Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky play.
Yeah.
So it's like it's it's one of those where it's the player that kind of binds you to a certain memory, and those are very good memories for me. But listen, I'm excited about hockey again, which is surprising for me because I let it go for a long time. I just was, I don't say disinterested, but I was disinterested, and especially Kane going to the Rangers made me kind of like rebooted me up again.
The juices got flowing.
Yeah.
All right.
I found those updated odds. By the way.
Okay. Go ahead.
It is,
what you got?
Between the Bruins and the Celtics, there's not an over/under. It's the exact number. So it's either exactly 0, 1, or 2. So 0 is minus 300, which is actually like, Josh, that's worth a couple $100.
Yeah.
I'm sure Fox Taylor would appreciate that. And then exactly 1 is plus 170 and 2 is plus 1,400.
I mean, just if you're going to play just for low risk, high reward, you do 1 and 2. You don't, why not? If you throw 20 on each, I mean, it's beer money.
Yeah, no, you definitely have a shot at 1. Both, especially in hockey. Hockey is we've talked about this.
The Bruins are good though. Listen, the Bruins are fucking fire right now.
The Bruins look okay. The Bruins are in position to win the President's Cup, and I think over the last 20 years, there might have been one champion that was the President's Cup champion. Hockey, the best team by and large, it is not the NBA. It almost never wins, just because it comes down to puck luck. You know what I mean? Especially, for my team, we would win the President's Cup. We would be running through the regular season. I'm like, oh, nobody can stop us. And then we get to the playoffs and, we ain't getting those penalties like we usually do. So now the power play is cold. You know what I mean?
I'd really like to see it for Las Vegas, though. I mean, I would be, listen, I really would love to see the Golden Knights win. Considering the momentum, the sports momentum this town has growing, and the Super Bowl being here next year, going into this next year, having the championship hockey team here, there's a really big momentum. And now there's a lot of excitement, I'm sure, with Jimmy G going to the Raiders for local sports.
Yeah.
Listen, I'd love to see who I would want to win hands down the Stanley Cup is, of course, the Golden Knights, and I want it for our city. But you made a really good point. A lot of it is puck luck.
It comes down to puck luck. As the resident hater, I would not want to see the Golden Knights win. Moving into Major League
That's
Baseball.
not nice.
Yes, no. Y'all wouldn't know how to act. That's the reason why.
But
the fans,
I agree.
The fans out here still...
every sport has the equivalent of the Dallas Cowboys fan base, and it is absolutely the Golden Knights fans. The Knicks are it for the NBA. They are. Knicks fans, they win their first playoff game with Patrick Ewing and the way oh my God, stop it.
To be fair for the Knicks fans though, they've had a rough ride. So for them to have any kind of excitement,
they win their first playoff game since Patrick Ewing. And the way they mobbed the garden and around it, you're like,
they don't know how to act
like you've been here before, please. Like,
that's fair too.
Stop it. No, but here's the thing about the Golden Knights fans, and I am going to say this, I don't care if I get heat for it. Until hockey came to town, a lot of the current fans didn't even know what icing was. They didn't know what any of the rules were. They didn't know nothing. And they didn't understand the anomaly. So first of all, when you have an expansion team, you essentially cherry pick your players, number one. Number two, even with that, getting to the Stanley Cup Finals is lightning striking in the same point 5 times. It never happens. That is an anomaly, okay? Which was beautiful considering what Vegas had gone through. But then the next season, I forgot what game it was. I don't know if it was against the Sharks or the Avalanche. There was a really shitty call made, and the fans
that gave a lot of. They had like 3 straight power plays essentially, and that's how they lost that.
The fans on the news the next day were burning their jerseys. I hate to explain this to you, and I hate to break it down for you or break it to you anyway. Being a fan is fucking misery. Decades of misery, of bad calls, of injuries, of your team being awful for years and years and years and years. You aren't a fan until you've cried in your coffee. Until
with other fans that feel the same way.
Until you've shut your phone off and refuse to just even look at your texts. So I don't even want to hear it.
That's fair.
Right, Georgie?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't know what icing was. So
let alone hybrid icing. We don't even have to get to the
or a power play. They didn't know what anything was.
I sure was like,
what's shorthanded goal?
Penalty kill. What the fuck is that?
Why are they throwing octopi out onto the? Is that legal? Is that kosher? Is that legal?
Are they going to eat it afterwards? Anyway,
is that what they feed the players?
Moving on into Major League Baseball, is the World Baseball Classic good for baseball? I have my feelings. I'll go ahead and go to George first. George, what do you think?
Oh, you got to restate that question.
Is the World Baseball Classic good for baseball? Do you actually like
Did you see like the group of I'll say it, Mexicans, Cuban, any Latinos that were back behind the dugout doing like the strike 3 call all simultaneously? All right, I'm going to find that clip for you.
Okay,
it's awesome. It's amazing to see like all the white looking players that are actually playing for Team Mexico. Like Austin Barnes for the Dodgers. I was like, whoa.
Well, you guys
did not know you were Hispanic.
This broke while after we started the show. Miami is giving former Jets QB Mike White a 2-year deal worth up to $16 million.
Ooh.
That means Aaron Rodgers, because it was Zach Wilson and Mike White for the Jets. The locker room lost faith in Zach Wilson altogether. Your backup, Mike White, who is better than Zach Wilson, is going to Miami. Then this is, the writing's on the wall now.
Ooh. Tua. Okay. Well, back to the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is it good for baseball?
Not because of the timing. No, I think collectively for the sport of baseball, it is. I love it. You know why? Because in baseball, we have so many big sports that are a collective focus. Baseball is the sport next to soccer in so many countries. To me, to see it on display, I love it. What I don't like is the timing of it because it's spring training, and this year you have the players. They're learning. They're adapting to the new rules of baseball.
That's right.
What I do think is funny is, and I sent George and Josh a video of this. And maybe we could post it, but it's basically Shohei Ohtani getting struck out by a Czech electrician. He literally is an electrician from the Czech Republic.
He couldn't break 80.
And he strikes out one of the best players in baseball, possibly one of the greatest players that will play the game, strikes him out.
It happens. It happens. I will say this. To your point, I think the biggest thing that it has against it is that they put it at a horrible spot. I mean, when we were sitting in a bar and they would show the highlights and like there's no one at these games. So it's like it's not like it's a money generator. I think to actually help with what you're saying, I think if they put it directly after the World Series and make it something after the World Series, I think that it actually could build a few more eyeballs. It's in a spot in the season. Baseball is just coming off of a high. All we have is college football and NFL. There's no real NBA really to that point. I think it can make sense.
You know what? I like that idea.
I think it can make sense.
Like it starts, like maybe it starts like 2 weeks after the World Series.
Sure.
Yeah, to give them some resting time
training with their team and all that
training with
stuff.
their team and getting acclimated and traveling and all of this. But why you do it during spring training where all teams need it, especially this year, they need all the players because you're also establishing chemistry and you have new faces on your team. You've got to figure out a new dynamic. I don't get it.
Yeah, but I mean, and then also put it in a domed stadium. So put it in one of the stadiums that's domed and
so it's weather neutral.
Yeah. Like I think so, because it would be cold at that point. Shifting gears, moving on. We're gonna end the show on the NFL. The Dolphins trade for Jalen Ramsey. Is this in preparation for a Jets move that could be coming? I think that they're making this trade because Aaron Rodgers, as we just seen from Rose Report with the Mike White deal, I think he's going to the Jets.
Yeah. And in pure Aaron Rodgers fashion, he's making everybody wait, including his new team. I'm going to say this. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, okay, with all this pomp and circumstance and this dog and pony show we've had to watch on Pat McAfee, on everything else, if the Jets don't win more, actually, if the Jets don't make the playoffs, I am going to laugh. Okay, so now Mike White goes to Miami. Mike White is a good quarterback. I thought he was way better than Zach Wilson, but now the writing is on the wall, and it looks like Aaron Rodgers is going. And his thing is he probably doesn't want a backup that anybody knows because he's such a bitch. But you know what? I'm happy for Miami because I think Tua is a good quarterback, but I'm scared for Tua. That was a really big hit he took, and just health-wise, I don't have confidence in him. Not because he doesn't have the physical ability, but just because that's a really heavy injury that nobody knows if he can ever come back from, fully anyways. And we don't know the extent of it yet. So I think it's a great move for Miami with Jalen Ramsey being there, with Tyreek being there. Listen, that's going to be a really fun team to watch.
Waddle's still there. George, we're going to have to get the Funkmaster Flex explosions. When Ro just says something that's incendiary,
I got you.
Like we got to start having those. Deron Payne signs a 4-year, $90 million deal to come off the franchise tag and stay in DC. He is now the second highest paid defensive tackle behind Aaron Donald. I think he's a little overpaid, especially now jumping in front of, his former teammate at Alabama and now his teammate with the Commanders, Jonathan Allen. But, for me, I think look, we had to pay him. I think this is where that position is going. If you get a good one, you got to pay him. What do you guys think?
I agree. You pay for that position. That position is a difference maker in the game.
Yeah. I mean, especially now with you have to have inside pressure on quarterbacks.
You have to.
As much as you can. George, what do you think?
They rotate too. I think it's valued right now, but watch this position decrease in value as the years go on for the sole fact that there's going to be so many of them.
Okay, like running back.
Yeah. And you're seeing it with like 3 and 4 running backs this year. These guys aren't every down defensive linemen. Like they are fat as shit, right? They're out of shape, obviously with the oxygen, but we don't need to get into that. They're getting paid a lot right now because they're like the new shiny toy. They're like what Kenny Golladay was to the Giants back then. They're
Oh
like,
my
oh
God.
yeah, let's just pay the toy.
That was a shot. That was a shot below the belt.
Pain. Pain.
I think this is all in remnants of obviously Aaron Donald being the most dominant defensive force in the last decade, probably 2 decades. And so anybody who can produce is going to get a nice little payday there. 4 years, $90 million.
You're going to
As
say
they
Michael
should.
Strahan.
No, well, Michael Strahan and Micah Parsons. Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack's up there as well, for sure.
There's some people.
For his moment.
Yeah, but I mean, like D tackles, I think that's like those paydays will go down. You know, if you're not an edge rusher and you can also drop into coverage sometimes,
I agree.
You're not going to be worth it.
I was happy to see that the Giants signed Sterling Shepard today.
Yeah.
That's
a good one as well. And then also I didn't see numbers when I saw it.
I didn't either. I don't know if they were releasing. When I saw them, at least I'm hoping that we can keep Julian Love. But we do need an explosive wide receiver that can make those long vertical plays so badly. And what I've read is that Joe Shane is having really meaningful, but they're not releasing with who, meetings with some of the top wide receivers that are in the market. And so now the dozen teams that went and saw Odell do his private practice, apparently the practice went really, really well. He showed of course, I mean.
He had nothing but one-hand catches from the highlights. When I watched the highlights back, the first 2 catches were one-handed.
That's all I saw too, were the one-handed catches.
That's too funny.
But listen, the wide receiver market is so critical. I mean, for us, for all teams, but I'm hoping we can get one of the top 3 very soon. Really, in an ideal world, it would be T. Higgins. I don't think he's going nowhere. But right now, I mean, I know it was the initial convo was D-Hop and it was Ayuk. I still want Ayuk.
Yeah. Moving on, I have to give Ro her flowers. The Bears trade the number 1 pick to the Panthers. She called that herself.
How many weeks ago?
You called it at least 3 or 4 episodes ago, for sure.
That's right.
These episodes are bleeding together, so I'm not sure. But the Bears got a bundle. They got DJ Moore. I'm not sure if he's been I feel like he's been a Pro Bowler.
Oh yeah. He's a stud.
Don't look now, but the Bears now have DJ Moore. They have Chase Claypool, and they have that young fella, Mooney. Thank you. So they have 3 legitimate receivers, all young, all under, I'd say, 26. Their receiver room looks a little bit better.
The real winner in all this is Lovie Smith.
Oh my God, those memes were too good. So it was a first round pick swap this year. They dropped down to 9.
Yep.
They also picked up the Panthers' 2nd round pick this year. They picked up their 1st round next year and their 2nd round in 2025. Good deal, yes or no?
For who? For the Bears?
Yeah.
That's what you call a full-blown fucking shakedown. What do you mean?
No Vaseline, as they would say. George, who good?
Raw dog, no rubber. It must make Jalen Ramsey feel horrible, right? Because C.J. Stroud has never played a game in the NFL, and he's worth 4 first rounds and a stud receiver, and Jalen Ramsey's worth a 3rd round pick and a tight end who's never going to play.
And the hot dog vendor that's been working for the last 3 years.
That would light such a fire under my ass if I was Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, right?
Wow. C.J. Stroud is worth that.
That's a lot.
And you know what? Don't be surprised if Carolina has remnants of Cam Newton taking him to the Super Bowl, and who looks just like Cam Newton? I mean, he'd probably wear the same size jersey. Anthony Richardson from Florida.
No. I think Cam's bigger, but I think Anthony Richardson is as agile and as, if not more. We haven't seen him play in the NFL, and that's such a big deal. But yeah, that's a really, really good comparison, Georgie.
Yeah, no, and they're gonna do. They might do something that stupid. Like, I wouldn't put it past the Panthers.
Well, no. In the memes that I saw, it was like, after all this, it was like, and with the first pick, the Panthers take Stetson Bennett.
Oh, dude, that's another one. The Panthers. Here's the funnier thing that I heard possibly that the Panthers might actually sell it. So like the Panthers got it, and then they might be trying to
maneuver
get something more than they
you might
got from the Bears.
drop back to 3 or 4 and pick a first round pick back up. You might. I mean, it's not a bad move. I wouldn't be mad at it, especially if you see
like
the quarterbacks and you're like, we can do it.
So again, now with all of this, now here's the thing about anybody getting a bag like this. If the Bears don't win at least 6 games this season, you're going to be the laughing stock of the NFL. And
Fair.
with the Jets, if they don't make it, if they do get Aaron Rodgers and they don't make it to the playoffs and they shit the bed in a conference game per usual, for Aaron Rodgers, not the Jets, they haven't gotten that far in God knows how long, then you will also be a laughing stock of the NFL.
Fair, possible. Okay, quickly getting through the other NFL news today. Javon Hargrave is leaving the Eagles, signing a 4-year, $84 million deal to go to the 49ers, $40 million guaranteed. He is 30 years old, so that's a hunky. We'll see.
I mean, I don't understand what the 49ers are doing. Do you guys not realize you don't have a quarterback?
They're banking on Brock Purdy.
Let's get another D tackle in there. We lost D'Amico Ryans. This'll fix it.
This'll fix it.
It's so true. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? And you know what? Now, if you think about it, look how different the Eagles look. New DC, new OC.
Possibly losing both their cornerbacks.
Possibly losing both their corners. I don't know. I think these high hopes for Philly for next year, you might have to manage these expectations because there's so many new parts to it.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of new for sure. The Ravens also released former All-Pro defensive end Calais Campbell. So I don't know. That's not addition by subtraction by any means. The Ravens also lost 26-year-old left guard Ben Powers, who is signing with the Broncos. So the Broncos trying to beef that offensive line back up. That's a big deal.
They just signed a right tackle.
Yeah, I never know.
McGlinchey.
Thank
from
you. I never can
Niners.
say his name. That's the reason why I didn't even put it down. I was like, I don't know how to say his name well.
They wasted no time. Good for the Broncos, man.
They needed. They don't have a lot of time, and they need a lot of things to change. I mean, listen, this is going to be the defining year for Russell Wilson's legacy. Like, you can think of it as last year because everybody has a not so. I mean, he had the worst QBR, I believe, in the league, the second or third worst QBR in the league last season. He had like 7 passes the whole fucking season. But I will tell you, they have a lot of things to fix. This coming year will be the defining year for him.
I concur 100%. Finally, Jeff Bezos was made to sign an NDA. Does this clear the path for him to buy my Washington franchise? The NDA, they're basically saying, because Jeff Bezos, we've talked about, owns the Washington Post. The NDA essentially is like, when you find out about all these shady businesses, you can't release that to the Washington Post, essentially.
Yeah, because Jeff Bezos is a businessman. He wanted to say, listen, I need to see exactly what has happened because in his mind, he has to rectify everything.
Yeah.
Even if it comes down to his own personal money going, I'm just going to have to pay this off for you, make this free and clear so I can run with it. So that's no surprise, and that is a very big indicator, and I love it for you guys.
I hope so.
God bless, man. God bless. Jeff Bezos power. Last thing I want to leave the people with, at least from my side.
Okay.
The Jets started at a plus 4,000 odds to win the Super Bowl next year. They've now dropped to plus 1,600. So
they've dropped
they've dropped from plus 4,000 to plus 1,600 in 2 weeks.
I see.
So
the rumors are probably true.
It's looking pretty good for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but for all of this, you better get there.
Yeah, odds are great until we strap up the helmets.
You know what it's like? It's like going into a new job and you negotiate and you are the new marketing director that now makes $200,000 a year, way more than everybody else. And Now you have all eyes on you. The target's on your back. You have a lot to do in a very short amount of time. So, because they're mortgaging their great grandkids' horses to get this guy.
Well, I would just like to thank each of you guys for tuning in again. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe the podcast, all of our videos. As we discussed at the beginning of the episode, we'll be getting some more information for you guys for the March Madness jersey jam.
We'll have details up by the end of the day on my IG, the front row, on the American Fan 365, and we'll see if Georgie can also put it on the studio page.
Oh yeah, we'll make some out.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll have all rules, and then starting tomorrow, start submitting.
Yeah.
Per those rules. And again, they'll all go to American Fan. It'll be detailed out in the post on social. But you guys, please like and follow us. Thank you so much for your continued support. We always have fun.
See you guys next time.
Bye.